you did or affected anything you did that day? Do you think it would have been helpful to have this in place on that day?
It may have been helpful. It may have been helpful. I would be speculating. But I think, as has been pointed out, it's already permitted to videotape and record police in their activity. This just provides a response if that right is violated for a citizen, for a resident to be able to seek some remedy, some justice.
But I think what people are driving at is that the police have leeway. I mean, they have to. But in that particular case, they could have very well have said, and I don't know if this is what they said to you or not, that you're interfering with a police officer, you have to leave this building. Mm-hmm. It's like when they put the tape up to keep us away. They could have done that in that case instead. I guess they arrested you instead because you didn't stop taking your pictures. But under this, it sounds to me as though they could still say, you're interfering, you've got to leave. They could.
Senator Looney, in follow-up to Paul's question, he basically asked about the exceptions that you mentioned a minute ago, and the exceptions being protecting the public safety, safeguarding the privacy interests of any person, and preserving the integrity of a crime scene. Doesn't that basically cover everything?
No, it doesn't. I think it clearly what we're trying to get at is instances, as in the situation that happened with Father Manship, where he is standing to the side, observing the police interacting with a citizen, with a store owner in East Haven, not interfering in any way. Obviously, the police can always allege that there was interfering. They can make all kinds of allegations in order to try to defend against the lawsuit. But what this would do is provide a remedy that someone could seek damages against the police for this kind of behavior. And I think that in and of itself will have a remedial effect. That police will be put on notice as part of their training that you've got to be very careful and make sure that you don't interfere legitimately with the rights of someone who is documenting a police interaction with the public, as long as that person is standing to the side and not interfering with the police in the performance of their duties. That's what this is all about.
How about preserving the crime scene? Isn't a crime scene a very broad term? This whole room could be a crime scene.
The whole building.
The building that falls in. And someone is trying to videotape something. Tell me exactly how that exception would work or not work.
Well, the exception would work in the way in which Senator Coleman said. If the police are trying to preserve a crime scene after a homicide, that would very well be something that the police would allege as a defense in this case, if a lawsuit were brought, and then it would be up to the court to determine whether that was a legitimate assertion of that exception or not.
So this is reactionary. This isn't going to prevent the police from taking away.
I don't refer to anything that we do as reactionary here. We call it progressive.
Well, it's reactionary in the fact that it's not going to prevent the police officer from taking my camera away from me if I'm filming something they don't want me to be filming. But it gives me a remedy after the fact.
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
Do you have any? Is there a training component with this also? How's the word going to get out there to?
We know the police read the law, and we'll know what the law is once this passes, and I'm sure it will be incorporated into
the
training.
racial profiling bill was like the better part of 10 years ago, and that didn't exactly fly right. Of course, it was set up to fail by throwing it over into the African American Affairs Commission anyway.
Well, we believe that this will be something that the police will incorporate into the standards and training and practices that well-run departments will caution their members and their trainees about this law and make them sensitive to it.
Did you consult?